This is Dr. Matt Barber of Alabama Orthopedic Clinic. We are proud supporters of Ransom Reprogram, Ransom Ministries, and all of the good work that they do in our community. If you would like to learn more about us, check us out at alortho.com or barbertotaljoint.com. You can also hear more from me personally on the Ortho Real podcast. Thank you again for allowing us to be involved with Ransom Ministries and all of the great work that they do.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience. My name is Matt Armbruster, Executive Director of Ransom Ministries. You're going to hear stories from people that we've served and people that serve alongside us, as well as those that we partner with throughout our community. You're going to hear about decisions they made throughout their life and things that happened through different avenues of their life that caused them to go down a path that they didn't see themselves going. And then also those decisions that they have to make on a daily basis to stay away from those decisions that they made in the past. Ransom Ministries empowers people to utilize their God-given gifts and talents in their career and for their community. All along the way, we learn how to help those close to us and also maybe even help ourselves. This is real. This is raw. This is Ransom.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
This show is brought to you by Ransom Recycling, your number one choice for electronic recycling in Mobile, Alabama. Help reduce waste in our landfills by recycling all of your unwanted, unused, and non-working electronics. Ransom Recycling is a division of Ransom Ministries that is helping to put men and women back to work. Check out ransomministries.com for a complete list of acceptable items. Drop-offs and pickups can be easily scheduled through the website. Please note that we are not accepting TVs at this time. Ransom Recycling, open 8 to 3 Monday through Friday. Help our planet while helping men and women re-enter the workforce.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend less time in your head.
Hey, welcome to the Ransom Experience, where we talk to people that are either going through our program, help out, volunteering, or just people that are on staff with us. And so today I am doing the first time a duel with two people, and I have Lori and Margie here that are volunteers in our reprogram. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So I've watched them teach, and they throw fruit around, and they do all kinds of fun stuff. So I said, this has got to be a great podcast because they're just fun. The biggest thing I see in you, though, is just Christ. In both of you, the fun. You show people that you can have fun at the same time as following Christ and doing the things you're supposed to do. So I appreciate you being here. So tell me a little bit about your background. We talked about a little bit earlier about how you grew up, but tell me a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Lori and my sister Margie. We are the girls of 4 siblings, and we're the younger 2. We have 2 older brothers. And we grew up in Creola, Alabama. We both went to Satsuma High School. Our dad is a United Methodist minister, so we're PKs.
Yeah.
Lots of fun stories growing up. Being a PK, you learn some funny things about people, and then we've learned to watch what people do, and we've learned a lot of examples in our life from the people around us. We had strong family, both immediate and extended, and great childhood.
Absolutely. We saw a lot of our family and how they served others and how they constantly were there for others. And, it's just something we find that's very important in life.
So as I've got to know you, y'all are close in age, I guess.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm not
Who's
saying
the
it
oldest?
because I've learned. I have
You're
all
smart.
girls in my family, and I will never.
very smart, man.
So you tell me.
We are 6 years apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I'll admit, I'm the oldest.
She's the oldest.
Yes.
Okay. I think both of you look close to each other.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Good answer.
I was trying to come up with the right word to say.
Smart, wise words, Matt.
So you grew up kind of learning how to serve by the
Right.
people who are around you. You probably saw things that weren't great in the whole church scene
Yeah.
as well.
You do.
So how did you differentiate from the real and the not so real. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. Growing up with a dad who worked in the ministry, you see people maybe take the Christ out of church sometimes. Maybe there's too much importance on a committee, or what color banner's up right now. Just sometimes we focus on things that don't matter. And we, along with our dad, we had grandparents and older brothers and each other, really, that have taught each other what's really important. And everybody messes up with what's important in the church and what's not. But you just have to see what good comes out of the end result. Right. And if it's the right color banners up and this person isn't at church that day because they're mad, that probably wasn't the right reason. But if we're there because somebody's sick and you're at the hospital all the time to try to help somebody, then that is the right reason. And we do see the Christ in that.
We saw a lot of Christ where we were. We were in my father served in small rural churches, and there were a lot of people there that have, they're still a part of their lives. They're like family. And so we saw that. We saw them do many meaningful things for each other, and for us as well, as, the pastor's kids.
And didn't ask for anything in return. No, they did it because they knew we either needed it, wanted it, or felt like it should be a part of our lives. So,
See, that's very encouraging to me, because I got girls, and we've been in ministry since they were little.
Yeah.
And you always wonder, because there's times that my kids have went through this whole resentment thing of it taking all my time. And I know there's a lot of people out there listening that, they get involved with something, but they get so involved that maybe it pushes you away from family time as much as you should. So it's encouraged me to watch you guys still serving and say it's because they set an example for you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Was there ever a time in your youth that you didn't want to do so?
Absolutely.
Because our father served in rural ministry, he was also, he worked locally in a machine shop here. So our churches were an hour away. So we packed up on Friday. So we moved every weekend. We moved, and this went on for years. Yeah. We moved there when Margie was a baby. I was in first grade. So, and I graduated college, got married, and my dad was still there. So it's been a service ministry, and I feel, I cherished those years, even though it was really unusual. There aren't many people that I know or have met that do the same thing we do. But gosh, that was such I look back and what a blessing that was.
And there are times, especially when you're a teenager, I would think, and we have two brothers, and there's the four of us. And sometimes our group text will get really funny because somebody will say, "Oh, we did this as kids," and we'll immediately, "Well, that would have never happened in our house because we were gone every weekend." And you do miss some things being a preacher's kid, and your kids will look back and say, "My dad didn't get to do that." But if they look at what your dad was doing while you couldn't do this earthly thing that you wanted to do, you put it in perspective a little bit.
Yeah. So that's cool because I've known a lot of people that grew up as ministry or churches, and we've had people in our program that were PKs.
Oh yeah, there's a pressure.
That's right.
Yeah, that the pressure really got to them, so they've had to come through our program. But they always say about how they do look back as it as a blessing that they were able to go through that. Now that they can look back on it and understand it. So you came to Ransom. So how did you get here? Which I'm very blessed that you did come, because I've seen anyway the classes that you do, and I know everybody loves having you around. Plus, there's been some other things that y'all have helped to orchestrate for us to get done. So how did you get here?
Well, first of all, we are honored to be a part of this. The ministry is amazing.
So fun. It's our favorite time.
It is. I mean, we look forward to this every time we get an opportunity to teach or bring food. But it's what you do here is amazing for people. I see change when we'll start out with a group and we watch them grow over time, and we come back, we see change in their lives. I mean, it's in their eyes, it's in their posture, it's in their words. It's just incredible. We started because I attend Redemption Church here in Cerulean, and Liz Grizzle came to our grow group one day, and she just said, "Hey, we need help." Her grow group, they're older ladies, and I think they were serving here, bringing food and lunches. So our grow group is involved. We help bring lunch once a month together, and then from there you ask us to teach, and I thought, gosh, what's wrong with him?
So
Now you really know there's
I
something
know,
wrong.
right? Wow, he's desperate. No, so Lori's church started doing it, and she just kept talking to Miss Grizzle. So she called me one day and said, "Could you do a lunch?" I'm like, sure. I like to cook. That's a thing I can do for people. So I started doing it, and then there's a group of ladies. I go to Spanish Fort Methodist, and there's a group of ladies that had heard why I couldn't be around certain days, and I told them. So now there's another group that is starting to do the lunch thing, and you know, might evolve into more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, y'all's lunches are awesome.
Oh, good.
That's all we need.
Like
yeah.
you bring great food, but you add like the special stuff, which no one else does really. You bring flowers. I think the last time was it your
Right.
group?
That was her group.
Your
yeah.
group brought flowers, and just the most awesome desserts too. By the way,
Good. That's our goal.
So
yeah.
so they always speak about it, but also there's a lot of things that you can do and help people. You know,
Oh,
that's one of
yeah.
them. How you got started. So then I asked you if you wanted to think about teaching, and you started that. And how has that been for you teaching?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's so fun. And
Yeah.
we get to do it together, which we have kids that are the same age. So we've always been able to serve in other community things together, which is fun for us.
We do a lot
like
in
to-
the community that
Yeah.
it's fun.
We
have
like
fun
to
doing
do
it.
that kind of stuff together. So when we were able, I think Lori was asked to teach. She's like, well, I'm not doing it unless you do it. I'm
Right.
Like, of course.
Yeah.
So we came, and it's fun for us because it gives us a chance to work together in a different capacity than what we normally do.
Never in my wildest dreams I would, think I would teach adults, and especially adults that are coming out of addiction and troubled lives. But I don't know who's more blessed.
Yeah.
I mean, she or I, but I was a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
I do, and now I teach fitness classes. So teaching is part of my life, but teaching, how to get your life back together to go out and be back in the workforce. That was something I'm like, oh goodness, I've never done that before.
Yeah.
But God leads you and gives you the Holy Spirit puts words in your mouth and things that you say that I'm like, wow, I didn't know I made that impact, or had that happen
Yeah.
to someone else. If that
It's-
makes any sense.
It's totally out of our wheelhouse some
It
days.
is.
Mine too.
It's like, what are we doing again? But it's funny because we'll say something. Maybe we'll say a quick phrase or quote a verse, and I'll see Angela, who sits in the back of all our classes, look up, and during the break or afterwards, she'll say, why did you say that? That was either mentioned yesterday, and it was a big impact. And that's not us.
Yeah.
That's a
Right.
God thing. That's
Absolutely.
deciding that.
That's why you can't take credit for it.
No, absolutely not.
There's no credit.
So, like, I
Absolutely not.
remember sitting there, you brought food that day,
Right.
and I asked, hey, would you be interested in maybe teaching or doing something? And I don't think that was by accident.
No,
I mean, I
think
don't
so
ask
either.
everybody that brings
Right.
food, obviously, to
Yeah.
teach,
Yeah.
but it just felt, and I didn't even know you was a teacher till just now.
Right. Well, it felt like that was something I was supposed to do too.
And then when you tied you into it, so I'll never forget the first class. It was in here when we used to do it here, and I come in and there's fruit, and I was like, "What in the world are these crazy ladies doing with
Fruits of the
this
Spirit.
fruit?" And then I realized what it was. But anyway, I'm a very visual learner, so
Right.
that
Oh,
was,
we are too. Yeah.
and that's why I think that is so cool. And I really feel like cognitive type therapy stuff is great for the ladies that are coming out.
Right.
So you might say you never thought you could deal with adults, especially coming out of addiction, but
Right.
that is the best way to learn. It's been proven that if they do those kind of things where they have to
Absolutely.
think a little bit and they
Right.
can see it,
Yeah.
that it makes it a lot more real. So what's something you've learned since you've been serving here? I know there's hopefully a lot of things, but what's like one thing that stands out that's really stood out to you since you've been starting to serve at Ransom?
I feel like when we come, we need to bring something that they can enjoy and laugh about, have fun, something that maybe takes them back because of kindergarten, takes them back to their childhood a little bit. Everybody has something special about their childhood, whatever their childhood was like, whether it's a song. So we bring music, we bring art, and something that everybody can relate to. We do think of learning styles when we teach, if we're, some people learn more hands-on, auditory learning, just visual learning. We try to bring all of that when we come,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what was your question again?
Yeah, so
Say it
since-
again.
So what's something that stood out to you that you've learned since you've been
Something
here
I've
at
learned.
Ransom?
I've learned that you can step out of your comfort zone a lot. My background is a little different than hers. I went to a small liberal arts school. I have a master's in public administration and nonprofit management, and I was in a very corporate setting. So one of the things I got to do, like one little snippet of my life, was going to trade schools and talking to kids that maybe were ignored in the traditional setting and giving them scholarships to help them feel wanted. And I kind of completely forgot about that side of my job until I came back here. And it is just like going back to that side, that everybody's worth it. Everybody has a story or something that somebody else can't do. So when we teach, like today, we taught about 30-second me, how to introduce yourself. And there was a girl that she was an RN, and she wants to go back into the phlebotomy world. I would die if I was a phlebotomy. Like, I would be on the ground every day.
Right.
But that is a skill that she wants to go back into, and it is a niche in her life that she needs to be in. And I think helping people see that everybody has a place is something everybody needs to learn every month.
Yeah.
And whether I'm not working full time in my career path or whatever, I have a place right now to help with my skills that I currently am using or have.
Yeah, everybody has value and worth. And I think, I see that and when they're learning and they recognize their value and worth, that is God,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what the next question I was going to ask you is, how do you see God working? I mean, that's the perfect example. As you see, you talked about how even like when you come today, or you've been here 2 weeks ago when you brought food and seeing the differences in the people.
It's incredible.
Oh, the different smile. Like, they may be nervous the first 5 minutes we're with them.
Yeah.
And then by the end of 2 hours, they're a little bit more relaxed. Well, if they stay at Ransom or something and we see them when we drop off lunch, it's a different look.
It is.
Yeah.
And especially if we call them by name, and sometimes we remember all the names and sometimes it'll pop in our head at the last minute. But that's a God thing, that they can see that somebody cares from the outside world. That
Y'all are awesome, because I couldn't even remember y'all's name. I had to ask y'all your name when we started. I'm terrible with names. I'm just going to tell you. I can talk to someone for an hour and still not remember their name. But that's right, because their names are important.
Very important. Yes.
Because no one really has ever done that.
yeah.
So one way, how about in your own life? How's God kind of changed you since you've been here? Like, I guess you kind of shared how you looking at things different, or you looking back at your job that you had and how you're using it.
Yeah.
But what about you personally, like in your personal walk with God? How's it affected you?
I see that God has a purpose for all of us, no matter what our background is, no matter what we've done, where we've come from. I know God has a purpose for everybody, and seeing how He's using us here and seeing how He uses the lives here to go out in the world. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a Bible study we did a couple of years ago called The Best Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
By Lisa Turkhurst.
And for a while, I use it as a joke, like, that's not my best yes to do that. It's not my best yes to wash
'Cause our no
dishes
is someone
today or
else's
whatever.
yes, we
Yeah,
say that a
so
lot.
sometimes you can say no to something to let somebody else open a door. So when we started teaching, you kind of drop a few things to add things on your plate. That's kind of what you're supposed to do in life. So somebody else can take a turn to do something, and you can say yes to something else. So I see this as my best yes right now, to give time to this. I enjoy coming over, and I see God letting me use things that I haven't used in probably 15 years. Career skills that I learned, or maybe just the ability to talk to somebody or listen to somebody different than my normal world. I guess my normal path.
That's great. And now knowing that you ran nonprofit management, I might need you to help me, because I had no
another
idea
yes
how to
for
run a
you.
nonprofit.
There's another yes. I know I need to close a few
Exactly.
no's.
I had no idea how to run a nonprofit,
Yeah.
and I still don't. So,
Well, I'll tell you, that's one of the reasons when we first came here that first time, my husband and I came and dropped off food. Just hearing how this all happens, it is a God thing, but it is
Definitely
a
a God thing.
who's around you to make this thing happen.
Especially after meeting me, you realize this is definitely a God
This
thing.
guy has some God people around him now.
I've always learned I'm not very smart, but I surround myself
You
by
follow
smart
the
people.
But yeah, it's amazing what happens with what's here.
Yeah.
And
I
the
mean, it-
impact on the lives that you bring here, it's incredible.
And that's what I've been trying to, because that's like a big frustration in this, because we don't use a ton of money to do what we do, but we get things done. And,
Yeah.
and everybody always wants me to go to meetings and let's go to this meeting. I said, I ain't got time to go to meetings.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
we are seeing people change every day. Why do I have to go meet somewhere? You know, let's just come out here and see it. That's why we've been trying to bring
Absolutely.
more people
Yeah.
out here to see what we do, to our lunch and learns,
think
to
you have
all
to
those
see
different
it.
things. You have to
I think
see
you
it.
have to see it. I think that's the
You
best
can't
thing for
just
somebody
read
to do.
about it on our Facebook
No.
page or on
No,
our,
when you tell somebody like, "Hey, I'm going to go take lunch to these people," it takes about 20 minutes. What?
well, why are you doing that? Chickasaw. So that the next question, we led right into it.
Oh,
Is
look
it
at us.
what
Yeah.
would you say to someone who's hesitant to volunteer, like to say yes to something and give up? What would you give? What kind of advice would you give them?
You know, I always when I ask or tell someone about this opportunity, it is an opportunity, and try it once.
Yeah.
You know, try it once. Now, when I teach Pilates classes, I make them come 3 times before they have an opinion. But
sore.
for this, I think it really takes one time to come out and see what's going on and see the impact and how lives are changed here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what God is doing through this ministry.
Awesome.
And everybody can do something. I mean, whether it's not everybody wants to stand in front of people and talk for 2 hours. It's a different beast
Yeah.
of volunteering. And not everybody needs to be heard for 2 hours. That's a different beast. But I think everybody can go help with lunch or sort clothes. I mean, there's something you can do that will fit what your skills are.
Yeah. And so Miss Grizzle's like a big example of that. You mentioned that that's the reason you
It-
came.
Yes, it is.
Well, she started out just teaching, and then she has background, so she helped me edit the curriculum. Then and it was stuff she could do without actually giving up a whole lot of
Right.
time. And then she said, we need to bring them lunch because we're eating sandwiches, and Miss Grizzle would not have us eating
she
sandwiches
wants
Right.
every
good
day.
food for
Yeah.
everybody.
So,
Nutritious
but that's all
food,
I'm
yeah.
going to give them is sandwiches. But so we give them sandwiches so she go, we're going to get some people involved. So then her coming, sharing with
Right.
your class, then that got you
Yes.
involved. So us, with you sharing the vision, but also putting it on this podcast and whatever to get more people involved. I think you're right that once you came, I believe this, there's 2 things going to happen if you come out here. You're either never going to come back
Right.
Yeah.
or you're going to come back every time.
Absolutely.
Because you won't come back because it is a fast pace. We're always doing stuff, and some people just don't. It's not called. But I'd rather have you try
Yeah.
than just say
okay.
no. I don't have
It's
time.
not everybody's
Right.
yes.
No,
but
it's not. It can't be.
No.
I don't have enough spots for everybody to
Right.
say yes.
We
but
would have to get a lot of parking spots.
but as you look through and you met some of the volunteers and some of the ladies that bring the food, you know that it's God ordained. I mean, by the people that He's placed in here, and that's
Right.
how we have to look at it, is that just come out and see. Because everybody always, the biggest thing, I wasn't raised in a church, so I didn't know much about. And I said, it's funny how people just say, "Well, I'm just waiting on God." Well, you can sit around and wait all day.
You can wait
He's
all
already
day,
told us
yeah.
what to do.
Right.
Serve people and just try it. Just go out
Yeah.
and try whatever you can. He's going to show you once He knows your heart. And I'm honored and so thankful that He brought you two here, because you brighten up my day when you come too. When you bring food, I can't quit talking to y'all because you're just happy people, and so
we're happy people. I mean,
are.
and we
You
don't take
are.
ourselves very seriously.
No.
yeah, and that's what I like about you too, because I don't take myself
Yeah,
seriously, and I think that we need to teach them that because they don't need to be so serious.
Yes.
Right.
One mess up, let's move on. It's
Absolutely.
fine. Or, I tell people all the time, midnight's coming. And the Bible says it's always His mercy is new each day. And to
Every
me,
day.
midnight is when the day starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's the new day. And I say, if I can just make it to midnight, I've already screwed up enough today, but
Yeah, go to
midnight's
bed.
coming and I'll
Yep.
be good.
Yep.
That's
Sometimes
right.
there's those days that you just need to go to bed.
Yeah.
But
Go
you
to
wake
bed early
up
sometimes in our house,
absolutely,
'cause
and then
you get a new
start
day.
over
That's
fresh
right.
every
Yeah.
day.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Oh,
Do you have
thank
anything
you.
else that you have wisdom that you want to share with
Let's
us?
see.
Or
No.
I'm going to video next time. Actually, you know what?
Oh,
I'm going to take a
goodness.
picture
doing a
so I
picture?
can. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
going to do a
please
picture
take a picture.
while we're on. They're trying to
Yeah.
get me to video this, but
Oh,
it
like
makes,
the video cast? I would.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
But some people don't like to be videoed. Like, so we're going to do it like this. See, right now,
There we
when you're
go.
listening to us, we're actually
we
taking the
are.
picture. It's
Perfect.
going to be posted with.
Oh,
the
nice!
thing.
So they can see what we
That's
look
right.
like.
So
So
straighten my hair
Right,
today.
I know. Right.
Well, again, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for
I
having
know
us.
it's the middle of
Yeah.
the day, and so we appreciate you guys joining us, and hopefully you'll share this podcast with your friends. You'll get involved somewhere. You know, if you don't get involved at Ransom, volunteer somewhere, because volunteering is where you really see God at work. And we want to invite you to come out here. We're at 320 South Craft Highway in Chickasaw. Stop by, have lunch with us. Bring us lunch if you want to. Hang out with us. Follow us on all of our social medias. I'm even on TikTok for the young ones. I'm not very good at it, but my kids make fun of me all the time. But so you can follow us there. You can go to our website, ransomministries.com. Get involved there as well. And we thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. With